Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me. There's something that has been concerning me for some time is really about genocide. And whether or not enough attention ever gets paid to what's happening in Gaza. Now, I don't believe enough has been in more recent days. We tend to focus on Christmas. We forget about what the IDF are doing in Gaza and the impact that has on the Palestinian people. But what I was interested in is looking at the number of deaths in Gaza and comparing that with another country that probably has just as many deaths by gun. Now, we know that in Gaza, not all that many people have been killed directly by guns, but I was wondering how many people have been killed in Gaza compared to other countries where guns run riot. And of course, the most obvious country that one could look to in order to see whether data was relevant or not was actually the US. And when I had a look at the US, lo and behold, what statistics did I arrive at? And you've kind of got to ask yourself, the genocide in Gaza is horrific because of the number of people that get killed all at one time, and the women and the children that get killed as well is horrific. And we shouldn't really take our eye off the ball. We should continue to watch happening there, and we should call it out for what it is, which is horrible, which is about a, a, a government deciding that they wanted to get rid of a whole population of people, and it's horrible. But if we just take the statistics aside and have a look at number of deaths as a result of violence, if you like, in this case I'm comparing guns with bombs and other stuff that the IDF tend to drop on the people in Gaza, and compare that with the United States, there's some interesting statistics here. For example, from this statistic here, it says that, and this is a 2021 statistic because that's all that's available at the moment, for whatever reason, don't understand that. Nevertheless, in 2021, the most recent year for which complete data is available, 48,850 people died from gun-related injuries in the US, according to the CDC. Can I just stress that? From gun-related deaths alone, which does include suicide, but certainly does include murders, 48,830 people died. Now, I think that statistic is significant. Break that down to a weekly basis. How many hundreds of people die in the United States daily as a result of gun violence? Yet, the United States, in all their wisdom, being the greatest country on earth, choose to do nothing about it. And just allow it to happen. So what's happening in Gaza will eventually, hopefully, come to an end simply because there won't be any more people left. But in the US, it'll just continue on forever. Because in Gaza, they've killed at least 45,390 people, including 17,492 children, injured more than 107,000, and there's 11,000 plus missing. But the important thing is there that we're comparing these two figures, 45,399 in Gaza and 48,830 people died from gun in 2021. So my point is there's a massive number of people who die as a result of violence in the United States. They don't seem to care about it too much because it just happens all the time. Who gives a shit? They're not going to do anything about it. Some people want to, but normally the right wing push back against that, and the gun lobbies do naturally. And the you know, they have their Second Amendment rights and all that sort of crap or whatever it is. So they don't do anything about it. And yet they would complain to some extent, and have been starting to complain about the number of deaths in Gaza. And I think there's an interesting way of looking at all of this, and that is that you can allow 48,000 people to die from the guns that you have in the community, and yet 43,000 people, mostly women and children, die in Gaza, and there's a big fuss about all of that. There's people object to that number. They call it a genocide and whatever. And in reality, you're having a genocide take place every year in your own country, and you choose not to do anything about it. And I think it's bizarre because the deaths on Gaza were avoidable, and people and countries should have made a stand against it earlier, including my own country here in Australia. It's appalling that they didn't. But once the numbers started to increase, people became more incensed about it and wanted to do something about it. Yet in the United States, every year, over 40,000 people being killed seems to be acceptable. It's an interesting comparison. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give a comment on what you think about all of this stuff. And also, in the meantime, all I can say is, given that stat, if you live in the United States, take care, look after yourselves, and for God's sake, be safe.